Good morning, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. So we are going to go through a couple of housekeeping items before we get started with the webinar. First, everyone has entered the webinar in mute. And if you could please still remain on mute for the duration of the webinar. As well as we do ask that you turn your videos off throughout the presentation. A couple of accommodations that we have made for today's webinar is that we have an ASL interpreter that you will see pinned in the video portion of Zoom at the top. So we also have a captioner that is available for captions. If you click on the Zoom ribbon of closed captions, you will be able to pull those up and see those live captions. So with that, we will go ahead and get started. Today's webinar is titled SCEDP Communications Equipment Options. My name is Landon Masters, and I'm the Community Outreach and Communications Manager for the South Carolina Office of Regulatory Staff. The South Carolina Office of Regulatory Staff, or ORS, represents consumers in utility issues before our South Carolina Public Service Commission. That involves setting rates and also dealing with other utility related programs for consumers and customers. Also, we have a lot of other programs like our transportation safety program, our transportation carrier program that we regulate, as well as railroad and pipeline safety. We also regulate water and wastewater companies and utilities. Telecommunications is another department within the ORS. And within that is our South Carolina Equipment Distribution Program. This webinar is actually the second in a series of webinars from SCEDP. The first webinar was held about a month ago, and it was about communications options and programs available for South Carolinians. And that recording can be found on the SCEDP YouTube channel, as well as on the SCEDP website. That is scedp.sc.gov. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Casey Sims with SCEDP, who is going to get us started with the presentation.
Okay, thank you, Landon. I do want to make sure we do have our captionings set up. Someone was having some trouble with that. Landon, would you mind repeating the instructions for the closed captioning? I know that closed captioning, there's an option in the bottom of your Zoom screen. And if you click closed captioning, I do see show subtitle, view full transcript. Is that is the option that I do believe you should click. Someone said that they do not have a live transcript. Yes. Okay, perfect. You got it? Awesome. It's there now. Okay. All righty. I just want to make sure we had that cleared up. All right. Well, thank you, Landon. As Landon said, my name is Casey Sims. I am the outreach coordinator here at the South Carolina Equipment Distribution Program. So as you all are aware, this time that we're living in has been challenging for outreach and for those of us who are used to going out and going to events and seeing each other and hearing about each other's programs. We aren't really doing that right now, understandably so. So we have been putting together a series of webinars here at EDP. And this one is actually the second webinar in our series that we've been doing. And if you missed the first webinar that we had back in December, it was actually on basically an overview of the South Carolina Equipment Distribution Program, what we do, and how to get equipment from our program. And so this is the second webinar in that series. And today we're specifically highlighting specific equipment options that we have here. So we're going to go through all of the equipment that we have to offer, and the specific features of that equipment, and who would best benefit for those pieces and that kind of thing. So today we're focusing on equipment that we distribute. And with that, we'll go ahead and get started. And Landon, you can move to the next slide. All righty, thank you. So who qualifies for our program, for the South Carolina Equipment Distribution Program? Anyone who has a hearing or speech challenge that they live with, any hearing loss at all. So it could be completely deaf or hard of hearing, any range of hearing loss. We do have equipment for that range of hearing loss. So anyone who has hearing loss, and then also we have equipment for those who have speech challenges as well. So to qualify, you must have a hearing or speech challenge for this program. Next slide. All righty. So if you do have a hearing or speech challenge that you're living with, or someone you know is living with, for starters, the first thing to do to get equipment from EDP is to choose a product. So, and hopefully today's webinar will help you with that as we go over the specific pieces that we offer. But step one is to choose a product. Step two is to fill out our application. It's a simple one-page application. And you fill that out. And then the next step would be to take it to your doctor or audiologist and have them certify the application, and then send in the required documents with the application. So the required documents that we ask for is a copy of your South Carolina ID and also a copy of your phone bill. You do have to have active phone service to qualify for this program as well. And like I said, we're going to cover that. We are going to have a webinar coming up, which I'll talk about near the end of this presentation, but we're going to go over the specifics of what we require and what that looks like. So if you do have questions, keep that in mind. But the last step, of course, is to send that all in, and we send you your piece of equipment. So have a hearing or speech impairment or challenge, have active phone service, and live in the state of South Carolina, which you can prove by showing that South Carolina ID. And that's how you qualify. All right, next slide, Landon. All right, so step one, as I mentioned, step one is to choose a product. So that's where we're going to start and what we're going to focus our webinar on today. We are focusing on the products that we specifically have in this program that are available to applicants. So with that, I'm going to turn this over to Robert Lynch, who is going to be covering our pieces of equipment, because I refer to him as our equipment guru. And he knows the ins and outs of the pieces of equipment that we distribute. So he's going to talk about the pieces of equipment. Did you have a, yes?
Before you turn it over, we do have a question, and I failed to mention that if you do have questions, put those in the chat box throughout the presentation, and we will get to them live or at the end of the presentation during a Q&A. But we have a question about a cell phone. Does a cell phone count? And we'll go into a lot more detail about those qualifications and the application process in our next webinar. But we can answer some of those questions now.
Sure.
People who don't receive a phone bill but have a Lifeline phone.
Okay, that's a great question, and one that does happen a lot. So if you have a phone service, active phone service, you qualify. So if you do have a phone through the Lifeline program, you would certainly qualify because you have a phone. We would just, instead of you sending in an actual phone bill, it would just look a little different. We might require a different piece of documentation, or we actually here at the South Carolina Equipment Distribution Program have access to the Lifeline database, and we can see the proof that you're in that program. So we can also look up your information that way to help you out. But yes, you could qualify. And I did see, I'll go ahead and answer, are there age limitations? So we are able to serve all ages. We specifically focus on 3 and up, typically. But if you you do have a question, you are, worried about qualifications, or someone you're wondering specifically if they would qualify based on their age, just reach out to us and ask us. But typically it's 3 and up for our equipment.
Thank you, Casey. I think that's all the questions that I see so far. So continue to put those in the chat box and we'll get to those. But as Casey said, we're going to turn it over now to Robert Lynch, our equipment guru with SCEDP, and he will get us started talking about the products.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. I'm Robert Lynch, installer for the South Carolina Equipment Distribution Program. And we're happy to show you some of our products that we offer to help you better hear and communicate. Let's see here. All right, Landon. Okay, amplified telephone. This is one of our loudest pieces of equipment that we offer, and a lot of times most selected, featuring its larger buttons for easy dialing and the boost button, which amplifies the handset and the ring volume. Has also other features such as number announcing. So when you dial a number, it will physically announce. Like if you pressed 1, 2, or 3, it's going to call out those numbers for you so you can, hear which ones you're dialing. Okay, Landon. Cordless amplified phone. This is pretty similar to the regular amplified telephone. It gets just as loud, but also gives you that portability where you're not, physically just have to sit in one room with it. You can just walk around and enjoy your conversation wherever you go in your house. This model also features an answering machine. So if you're out and about and somebody leaves you a call, you can, check that and get back to them when you have the time. All right. This is our Bluetooth model of the cordless telephone. This one will mostly work with a cell phone with Bluetooth capabilities. So that way, if somebody gives you a call on your cell phone while you're at home, you can use this handset instead, and you'll get that amplification. So you'll be able to hear a lot better if you're, having issues with your current cell phone. It also has a possibility to download your phone book, your contacts, so you could easily speed dial whoever you want to talk to right from the handset. And this will also take answer machine calls as well. Another feature is it has a slow talk mode, where if somebody leaves a voicemail and it's a little bit too hard to understand, they maybe talked too fast or something, pressing that slow talk mode will kind of delay the playback of the message. All right, Landon. CapTel phone. This telephone will basically type out what your caller is saying to you so you can read it out in live time. This phone mostly changes. It's not really as loud as our other phones because what it is, it's giving you the screen. You're more focused on reading it out than hearing for this telephone. It'll also record answering machine messages in the same way, where you can go back and play your messages, and I'll have a transcript of what the message says. Captions are adjustable. You can make them large or smaller, and it also has adjustable handset volume. All right. This is the internet model of the captioning telephone. It requires wireless or hardwired internet service to perform. This phone, most of the time, it's kind of more accurate with the captioning time. Instead of the previous model, that one you would have to contact a number first and then get transferred to who you're trying to call so the captions come up. This model does not require that. It gets all the captioning information straight from the internet, so you wouldn't have to kind of cut out that middleman of dialing another number. This one also performs the same action as saving the answer machine messages for later review. Okay. Cell phone amplifier with Bluetooth. This unit will pair with a compatible cell phone with Bluetooth so that you can, if you have a call, you can just use the headphones to listen to your call while your phone's in your pocket, or you lay it somewhere while you're at home. You can walk around with this and it'll amplify your call for you. Has a rechargeable battery, and it comes with the cable to plug it up to charge. So none of that, you wouldn't have to buy any of those accessories. And this is for moderate to severe hearing loss. Uniphone, this is a telephone where you would type out your response while the caller, where you're listening to them. And it also has the amplification. So basically you could either speak or type your response to who you're talking to on the other line. Sorry, I had to update something. Okay, all right, next slide, Landon. Message. Okay, TTY SuperPrint. This is another, this phone is mostly for typing out your responses on the keyboard as provided here. It uses a relay service to contact callers who do not have this equipment. So the relay caller will explain what you're saying, and then it would come back as a text response on the dialogue. And it will also print out a list of what has been typed for later review if needed. This piece of equipment is for deaf and speech challenges. All right, Landon. Large number telephone. This piece of equipment is for maybe somebody who has issues seeing and has very large numbers that are easily pressable, so you can dial when you need to. Also has a feature of speaking the numbers like the other amplified telephone, where you would press whichever number you're dialing and it would just talk it right out to you. It will also record up to 10 memory numbers. such as speed dial or like a phone book. Okay. Electrolarynx. This device is for people who have lost their larynx and have issues communicating. It comes with a rechargeable battery function where it will charge with a cable that's provided, and it has also adjustable volume and pitch. Okay. iPad. This device is has a lot of capabilities where you can choose different applications for like webcam or video chat. And it also has applications that will speak what you're typing, text-to-speech chat. Long-lasting battery, and comes with a protective case. There's also video relay services and telephone services as well for captioning. Yeah, this is a really good product for maybe somebody like a child who has issues communicating. This will definitely help with stuff like that. Right, the larynx is the true tone emote. This is the Bellman alarm clock. This piece of equipment is used for, waking up in the morning. If you have a phone line hooked up to it, it will go off. It will light up. Those 4 lights you see here. They will light up, letting you know you have a phone call. And it also comes with a bed shaker accessory that you can put under your pillow that work with the alarm function, and if you have a phone call as well. This piece of equipment can be used with a lot of other accessories that we're offering, and we're about to go over soon. Flash receiver. This is pretty similar to the alarm clock. It kind of takes away that functionality of the clock face. It'll mostly flash whenever you have an alert or you have a phone line plugged up to it. The flash is really intense, so it's like that to get your attention when using it with the phone line or other accessories. It also has a built-in battery backup just in case there's a power outage.
And Robert, I'm going to stop you for a second and jump in here, if you don't mind. Let me
Okay.
put on my video. This is Casey Sims again. Thank you, Robert, for talking about these 2 alert devices that we have. I just wanted to specify a few different things. So the flash receiver that you see on your screen now and the alarm clock are our 2 alert systems that we have in our program right now. The alarm clock, in addition to notifying someone if their phone is ringing or their doorbell is ringing, it does also serve as an alarm clock. So someone who needs to get up for work in the morning, early in the morning, who, has severe hearing loss, can get that alarm clock, put that bed shaker under their pillow, and when it goes off, they are notified not only by the bright flashing, but also by that vibration. So that is helpful for those folks who obviously need an alarm clock, as well as, they struggle to hear their doorbell ringing. They struggle to hear their phone ringing. That is designated for those folks. The flash receiver that you see is also for severe hearing loss, but it is only going to flash. It's only going to make this bright flash, and it is a very bright flash. It's so bright that some folks just you can turn the top of the flasher to turn the flash to have it direct the way that you want it to direct. A lot of folks will turn it towards the wall, so the flash will reflect on the wall. So it's great for severe hearing loss as well. But that is more common for severe hearing loss, but it's not going to be an alarm clock. So I do want to just make sure that everyone's aware. We do have an alarm clock, and then the flash receiver does not have that feature. Alrighty, and I'll turn it back over to you, Robert.
Thank you, Casey. Okay, next slide, please. Cell phone sensor. This is a piece of equipment that will work with the alarm clock and the flash receiver. It basically will sit on top of your cell phone, and when you have an alert, such as a text message, notification, or a phone call, it will cause the device to vibrate, and it'll send a signal to either the flash receiver or the alarm clock, and they will go off either by flashing with a sound in the alarm clock's case, or just flashing in the flash receiver's case. It will also make the bed shaker accessory go off on the alarm clock as well. This is our push button receiver, also known as the doorbell. This piece of equipment will physically go outside, and when somebody, you have a guest or family member arrive and they press that button, it's going to make that alarm clock and that flash receiver go off. It'll make a doorbell sound from the alarm clock, and the 4 lights will flash. It'll also make the bed shaker go off, and then for the flash receiver, it'll show off that bright light. And it'll also work with the next piece of equipment that we're about to show. And that is the pager receiver. This will go on like your belt loop or like your pants or wherever you would like it. It has a clip on the back for that. This piece of equipment works with the alarm clock and the doorbell, kind of like another alerting device. It'll also work with, the alarm clock or doorbell. It also works with the flash receiver as well. This piece of equipment will light up depending on what the alert is. You see the doorbell is would be a green light. So then it would vibrate whenever you have a notification or an alert.
And I'm sorry, Robert, I'm gonna jump right in here real quick again. And I just want to specify this pager receiver, and Robert can probably talk a little bit more about this, but this pager receiver that you're seeing, notice that there is a picture of a pacifier on there. Our program does not provide baby crier alerting devices. So this actual pager receiver is not going to notify you for that unless you as the applicant go and purchase your own device that would sync with this. So this is only going to notify you for doorbell and phone, not even the fire alarm. EDP does not provide fire alarms either. Our alert systems will not notify for fire or baby crying. I just wanted to make that you guys aware of that.
And if for whatever reason you do need those 2 pieces for alerting, you can get those. You should be able to get those from the Bellman website directly, the baby alarm or the fire alarm devices. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and I'll turn it over to Casey at this point.
Okay, Thank you, Robert. Alrighty. Before I move on, there was a couple things that I wanted to go back and mention. First of all, I would like to reiterate that our program does provide all of these pieces of equipment at no cost to the individual. Especially what comes to mind, you know, two very expensive pieces of equipment, the electrolarynxes, they're very expensive. So for someone who has just gone through, who had a laryngectomy and has lost their ability to communicate, larynx is a very common thing that those folks will order through our program so that they can have their voice back. And those, like I said, are expensive devices. So our program is a really great resource to be aware of, so that in those circumstances, you know, those are available and our program does provide those. I think some folks forget that we do that. And so that is also a way that we assist with communication. And then the next one would be the iPad. An iPad is an expensive device. So our program does provide that. We have different options for the iPad. We do have a package for hearing loss, and then we have a package for speech challenged. And the iPad, I would like to point out, is a totally separate application. Our regular application has all of our phone equipment and the larynx on it, and the iPad is its own application, which is not on our website. You do have to call and request that application, or you can, you know, email us and request that. So that is separate, but we do have, like I said, the hearing challenged package and then the speech challenged package. If you do select speech, the speech iPad, and I know Robert covered this, but it will come. We do provide an AAC app, which is basically a communication app for someone who has difficulty speaking. This app assists them with that and essentially gives them their voice back and allows them to communicate. Use that iPad to communicate. For the deaf and hard of hearing package for the iPad allows the individual to use the iPad as a phone, essentially, for video relay calls and that sort of thing. So the iPad is a communication device. There is some confusion with the iPad sometimes. Folks would like to get the iPad and then also a phone. And someone did ask the question earlier in the chat, which was a great question. Can folks get more than one device? And we allow one communication device and then one alerting device per household. So the iPad is a communication device. It's allowing the individual to communicate. It's giving them a way to communicate. A phone is a communication device. The electrolarynx is a communication device. So only one communication device and then one alerting device per household. So that's important to note when going through the application process as well. And just a side note, we do offer, you know, exchanges. If an individual picks something and finds that that device doesn't fit them and their needs, we will certainly exchange that for something else if they would like to try something different. And then someone else had asked if an applicant can call us and talk to us and we help them through the process of picking out the piece of equipment. And absolutely, we're more than happy to answer any questions. And if you're unsure what would be a good fit for you, give us a call and we're more than happy to help out with that. And then that way that might eliminate some of the exchanging or anything like that. But yes, we're more than happy to do that. So we will exchange it if you need to try something else. But of course, we would have to get the device back first before we can send you an exchange, because we only do one per household. And we also will do replacements if It is broken if your device breaks. As long as abuse isn't detected in the situation, we can get you a replacement or get it repaired. Now, certainly, we're not gonna, if we keep getting a request for a replacement every month, I mean, obviously that's going to be something we're going to look at. But if you need a replacement every now and then, I mean, we're happy to do that as well. And the last thing that I'm going to say is, before I cover the next webinar, is that I know Robert mentioned that he is our installer for the equipment distribution program. And under normal circumstances, he does go and install the equipment for applicants that would like help having their equipment set up. More than happy to do that. However, during this time right now, we have dialed back on that just with the coronavirus and everything. Robert has not been going into homes, but he is more than happy to help you over the phone, getting set up, getting your equipment set up and started, and we'll do the best we can to help you over the phone with that or any questions. But in the future, we're hoping we can start back up him going and installing equipment into folks' homes, and we do that at no cost as well. So that is available too. And with that, I am going.
Casey.
Yes.
I wanted just to ask a question, and we can cover when the next webinar is at the very end. But I wanted to ask a question and then open it up to Q&A before we do that. My question is, if someone, when they're getting their equipment, what is that process usually like? So after they've applied, they've chose their product, what is kind of the time frame for that? What should they expect in the mail or in a package, and for them to get the equipment?
Okay, that's a great question. So once we have everything that we need with the application process, so we have the application filled out and signed by the professional certifier. We have all of your information, and then we have the copy of your South Carolina ID and phone bill. We begin to process the application. That normally does not take us very long. We can typically process applications within the same week that we get them. And then after that, we basically ship out equipment 2 times a week. That's our goal. That doesn't always happen. But normally the individual can receive their piece of equipment within 1 to 2 weeks of us processing their application. Now, with that being said, the iPad is different. That is an exception. That's going to take longer. The iPad can take up to 45 business days to come in. The ordering process for that is different. We don't physically keep our iPads in our office. So that takes longer to come in, but the phone equipment and the alerting devices typically go out between 1 to 2 weeks. We do UPS next day shipping, so you should get it relatively quickly. It will be shipped to your door, and if all the information that you'll need is in the box, instruction manual, all of that, everything you need, and then of course our information at EDP in case you have questions or need help with setup. All of that comes in there right to your door. And so, like I said, the iPad, same thing, it will be shipped right to your door. It just can take longer, up to 45 business days to come in.
Awesome. Thank you. And I'll encourage folks to continue putting questions in the chat. And then in a second, you can unmute yourselves or turn on your video if you'd like to ask a question as well. But first, you mentioned if something was broken or damaged, they could get a replacement. What if a piece of equipment is lost or stolen? So for example, let's say that they have the doorbell outside and someone decides to swipe that doorbell from them. What is that process, and how often maybe does that happen?
So I will say that unfortunately things do, get stolen, or things walk off and go missing. Um, for something that goes missing or stolen, we do require that a police report is filed and turned into us if it is stolen, so that we can replace it. But we would not be able to replace it unless we have a police report. Um, that's how that would work. And then this is just our program policies that we have to stick to. Now if something breaks or isn't working properly, that's different, and we can certainly talk about getting you a replacement, but we have to get those back first before we can issue a replacement. And every situation is very different. Sometimes I think I've heard it all, and then I'll hear something new that I've never heard before. So I would encourage you, just in every type of situation, um, call and let us know, and then we'll talk you through what to do next. Just because each situation is so different. And so I don't want to say one shoe fits all, but for stolen equipment, we will require a police report. For broken and damaged or not working properly pieces of equipment, we'll work with you to get that fixed.
Awesome. And is there a place on the website? I know the answer to this, but I just wanted you to share it with everyone, where they can find the information about these products, if they, want to go and learn more, view the user manual, things like that.
Yes, there is a place on our website where you can certainly go and look at all of our products. We have a product guide that you can also download and print on our website, as well as the application for the phone equipment and alerting devices. All of that is available on our website, and you can go and read about the different pieces of equipment, and then also print a guide if you would like. And yes, Robert has put that link in the chat, which is great. And like I said, I know I mentioned earlier, but again, the iPad application is not on our website right now. So I know some folks will print the regular application for the phone equipment and fill it out as if they are requesting an iPad and just write on it that they would like the iPad. We can't accept that. It has to be the actual iPad application. And so if you're hearing this and you're interested in receiving applications, I am more than happy to mail you a packet of applications so that you can keep those on hand, and then in your office or wherever, and you can have those if you would like to distribute at your will. And then if you ever need more, you can just reach out to me and I'll mail you some more. We do prefer that hard copy applications are used just because we do have codes on the bottom of them. We like to keep up. We track where they're coming from and who's using our program. So if you would like, I'm going to put my email, and it will pop up in a second, but I'm going to put my email in the chat. Please email me and just request, hey, I would really love some applications, some iPad applications or some phone equipment applications. If you specify, I can also send you both. Let me know and I'll get those out to you. I'm more than happy to do that. If you would like if you're thinking, I know right now is a different time again, but if you're thinking that, oh my goodness, I would love to have you come speak to my office, to some of our staff, I'm also more than happy to do that as well. Yes, thank you, Landon. My email is csims@ors.sc.gov. I'm also more than happy to come out, visit your office or your organization, and I can bring some pieces of equipment if that's something you're interested as well. I do that. Just a side note. Yes, we do accept faxes for the applications. You can email them back to us, scan an email, fax, or mail them in. We do accept them. However you can get them to us, we'll take them. But yeah, if you have any questions, I think now is a good time to ask them. If you know any came to mind while I was speaking. I know that was a lot.
And so we'll open it up to Q&A. We had a lot of great questions in the chat box, but if anyone would like to unmute themselves or turn on their video right now, you can do that to ask Casey, Robert, or myself any questions.
No question. Oh. Okay. Well, Landon, if you want to go back. Yes.
Hey, I just had a thought or a question. When you said that the flash receiver had a very bright light that went off, is there any correlation between that and like those strobe lights where people have, you know, negative effects around strobe lights?
Yes, so there it wouldn't be recommended for anyone who does respond you know, negatively to those types of lights. And we do have a disclaimer about that. It is a bright light, so it is meant for someone who is truly, you know, they rely more on seeing a notification versus hearing one. So yes, if it is bright. So if someone responds negatively to those strobe lights or that bright flashing, it wouldn't be recommended that they go with that device.
Oh, great. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Great question.
Are there any other questions? That was awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. We are taking, our office is closed right now to the public. But we do take appointments. So if you are interested in seeing the equipment or someone you know wants to come try something out, we also do take appointments right now. So just feel free to do that as well.
And I would add that Casey mentioned the application does need to be certified by a medical professional. So certainly when you take that to get it certified, bring that product guide or, you know, ask them what type of product may be best for you as well. I think that may be a good option if you're unsure of what would be best for your situation. And we'll go into some of those certifications a little bit more in detail. And Casey, if you want to plug our next webinar before we conclude, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, we are going to have our third webinar in this series, and that will be focused on the specific application process, what that looks like, you know, different documents that we would require, what we can accept, what we can't accept, just specifics about the application process and how, you know, we do have two different applications, as I've mentioned, our phone equipment application and our iPad application. We're going to go through all of that, and that will be on March 9th of this year. So coming up soon, the registration link is on our Facebook page. I do believe on our website already. And if it's not, it will be shortly. So please be looking for that. We will probably do an email blast with the registration link as well coming up again. So that will be coming out as well. And then our first webinar, if you missed it, has been recorded, and you can also find that on our YouTube page and also our website. So please check those out if you're interested. And then again, if you would like, I know someone was interested, put in the chat that they were interested in a packet of applications. Again, please email me how many you want, what type of applications you want, whether iPad or regular or both. Let me know, and I will get those out to you as soon as I can. And thank y'all for listening.
Thank you very much, everyone, for attending today's webinar. We look forward to seeing you at our next webinar. And like Casey said, contact us if you have any questions. Thank you
Yes.
very much. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.